Hi, I'm Miranda.
And I'm April,
This is the True Crime Co.
a podcast about everything macabre and mysterious.
We're going to jump right in today with the Candyman of Deer Creek, Houston, Texas. But first, I'd like to start with a little urban legend about poison candy and mean strangers.
Da-da-da.
So, in the mid 1900s, 60s, and 70s, there were several reports of poison candy. There was lye in bubblegum in Detroit, and also rat poison in Philadelphia. And in 1970, the New York Times came out with an article titled, "Those Halloween goodies that children collect this weekend on their rounds of trick-or-treating may bring more horror than happiness." And then, of course, in 1974, the unfortunate death of Timothy O'Brien. Timothy O'Brien was 8 years old and the son of Donald and Ronald. I have a problem.
Clark O'Brien.
Janae. I don't know how to say her name. I'm so sorry.
Pause and come back to that one. Pronounce her name later. It's fine.
I'm not going to be able to pronounce her name later either. Sorry. I'm going to be O'Brien's wife moving forward.
Candyman's wife.
Candyman's wife.
Sorry.
Timothy O'Brien was also the brother of 5-year-old Elizabeth O'Brien. And by all accounts, Ronald was a good dad and well respected in the community and church. So on October 31st, 1974, not 2023, as was written in my notes, O'Brien rounded up his kids, and they actually got together with a neighbor, Jim Bates. So Ronald and Jim Bates got together with their 4 children to go trick-or-treating in a Pasadena neighborhood. And the night was pretty usual. They went to some houses. There are some reports that it might have been raining a little bit that night. I'm not sure. Only one source said that, so maybe it was rainy. They went to a couple houses. They did go to one house in particular where the kids knocked and nobody answered. And at this house, Ronald actually told the group to go ahead without him and that he would catch up. Also, reports say that he was tying his shoe. I don't know. That was only one source that said that also. The same one that said it was raining. So for whatever reason, he stayed back at the house where nobody answered. And when he caught back up with Jim and the kids, he had 5 of the really big pixie sticks. I don't know if they sell them anymore.
They do.
So 5 of the ginormous pixie sticks. And at the end of the night, when trick-or-treating was over, he ended up giving 4 of the pixie sticks to his children and Jim Bates' children. And then the last one he ended up giving to a 10-year-old boy that he recognized from his church. And as they were getting ready for bed, Timothy and Elizabeth were allowed to have 1 piece of candy, and Timothy chose the pixie stick.
Did he choose or was he forced to choose?
We'll get to that later.
I'm commenting.
So he chose, for all intents and purposes, the pixie stick. And within an hour of eating the candy, he was pronounced dead en route to the hospital. Now, this created fear, mass panic throughout the neighborhood, and all kinds of parents were turning in their kids' candies, afraid that they had been poisoned. And initially, that's what the theory was, because Ronald told police that at the house that nobody answered, an arm reached out, inconspicuously, of course, and handed him 5 pixie sticks, and that's the ones that he gave to the kids, and the one that ultimately killed Timothy. So originally, Ronald wasn't a suspect, and the autopsy showed that Timothy had been killed by cyanide, and the pixie stick had had enough cyanide in it to kill 2 to 3 adults, depending on who you ask. So very quickly, Ronald's story started to deteriorate. The house where he said that he got the random pixie sticks, the owner of the house wasn't home, and over 200 people corroborated that he was at work that night. So that's an airtight alibi, if I ever heard one.
It's questionable about 200 people.
100 people?
It's questionable right there.
I don't think so.
I think they all should take lie detector tests.
All 200 of them?
Yes, obviously. They're delusional. It was Halloween.
That's a good use of taxpayer money for sure. 200 lie detectors.
Well, it's not any worse than what's happening now. Anyway.
So, as the investigation goes on, I forgot to mention, whenever he was given his story, he said that after Timothy was eating the pixie stick, he said that it tasted bad and he was having a hard time eating the candy. So Ronald gave him some Kool-Aid to wash it down with. And then immediately after drinking the Kool-Aid, Timothy started throwing up and having a hard time.
Adverse effects of the cyanide, I'm sure.
Yes. But that's important because later on, his wife, Miss O'Brien, who is now divorced from him, had made statements that Timothy didn't originally pick the pixie stick and that Ronald had not so smoothly encouraged him to eat the pixie stick anyways. Elizabeth did not choose a pixie stick.
Because Elizabeth had some gumption. Good girl.
True, she just didn't.
All right. Well, okay. A couple of questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Where in the world did he keep those pixie sticks before he went and got them?
It's a great question. Probably in his shoe that he had to tie.
Look at this shoe.
That's speculation.
Those things are like 2 feet long, man.
I know, but like,
well, I mean, somebody who doesn't remember the mid 1900s.
I wasn't alive in the mid 1900s.
Neither was I.
I mean, if you put them in your shoe and then tuck them in your pants, you can conceal them that way. Or maybe he wore a jacket.
Okay. So, and here's my question though, is another one. Is Halloween, it's already creepy because it's dark because, this was before the time change.
Mm-hmm.
Before they fixed it to where Halloween was no longer light at this time of year.
In 1974?
Yeah, it was dark on Halloween at like 5 o'clock in 1974.
You weren't even alive in 1974.
Yeah, but I was alive later, pretty close to that, and it was still dark.
Okay.
So the whole light one has not, it's been like 15 years since it changed. If that, I'd have to look it up. I don't remember. My memory's bad on that. Anyway, so in your description, it's rainy, says one person. It was dark.
Well, it was A&E.
Okay. All right, A&E. It was raining. It was dark. He went to a house with no light on.
Yep.
With all the children, even though the signifier for people to give candy is the porch light.
Well, we don't know that there was no porch light.
We said there was no light on.
Did I say that? I said there was nobody home.
Well, I read a little, and it said the porch light was not on.
Okay, fair.
All right.
Did me say that? Because
yeah,
I don't know.
Anyways, but as one of these signifiers, why did they choose that house? If it's dark and obviously nobody is home, why even knock on the door?
Well, to make his master, so he could pin this on this man.
Obviously.
Because I also read that previously Ronald had no happy, warm, fuzzy feelings about Halloween. But then this year in particular, he was like super excited to take them trick-or-treating.
Yay, I'm gonna kill my son.
Red flag.
Super red flag. And then not even that red flag. So not those 3 red flags, but the next one. I don't know. The light's not on. It's dark. It's raining.
And he's all of a sudden super excited to take
And
his
he's okay. 4.
Okay, yeah. I'm following.
Okay. And then here's number 5 is a strange man in a dark house opened the door crack and handed him 5 pixie sticks.
It's just an arm. It wasn't even a man. It was just like
It could have been like a disembodied arm. He could have said it was a zombie, and everybody like, oh, that guy is guilty. I mean, obviously the house was haunted, and that's who poisoned the children.
They have to do their due diligence and make sure the homeowner wasn't home.
Of course. But obviously it was a ghoul who handed the pixie sticks to this very innocent person of the society.
This father, this deacon of the church.
Deacon, you didn't mention that either. He was a deacon of the church.
I think he was well respected.
That does not equate to deacon of the church.
So, during the investigation, some other things came to light.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first thing is that Ronald had lost like 10 jobs recently.
What?
Like, I think that's
Now we're up to 6. That is 6 warning signs.
so he had some issues keeping a job, which led to some financial issues.
What kind of financial issues?
Do you know?
Uh-huh.
I know his car payment was like 7 months behind.
Oh, yeah. He was like, what was it? Like the equivalent of $100,000 in debt?
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, it was.
Today's market, of course, people, not.
Which is why No, it was back then. Not today's market. He would have been more in debt today than he was.
Like $100,000. I'm going to look it up. You continue, though. I'm going to look it up.
So his car payment was really behind. He had racked up a ton of debt.
Okay, so I just found it.
That's fast.
Yeah, well, I was actually looking. But anyways, it says that he was $100,000 in debt. You're right, back in the mid 1900s, which is the
70s, which I feel like we transitioned into like the late 1900s.
Mid to late.
Yeah.
Which is the equivalent of 2022 of $590,000. All right, so $590,000 equivalent to $100,000 back in mid to late 1900s.
Yeah, we're in that transitional year.
Decade, whatever. Anyways, but he's had no crime. Pillar of society, deacon in the church. Everybody liked the dude.
Oh, did you say how much it would be equivalent to today?
Yeah, 590,000.
Okay, because I just looked at my A&E source.
I look at my Wikipedia source.
I also read Wikipedia.
I mean, it's kind of got it all captioned here where I can look at it. Anyways.
It does.
Oh my gosh, 10 years he had 21 jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a lot. He had a lot of jobs.
Dude, I've had one job for 20.
Ooh. He was also suspected of theft from his job at the he was an optometrist, an eye doctor. I forgot to mention that also. This is going to get better, guys. This is just episode 1. I promise. He was accused of stealing from the optometrist office, and that's why he was fired from his most recent job.
The Texas State Optical?
Yes. He had defaulted on several bank loans. The family house was being foreclosed on. He was several months behind on his car payments. He was racking up in debt.
All right. So with this crushing amount of debt, it's crushing.
Well, it certainly didn't look good that he had recently just upped his kids' originally $10,000 life insurance policy to $60,000 a piece. So that didn't look good for him. I'm sorry.
Okay, so he had taken out life insurance policies the same year in January, but of $10,000.
Right.
So this dude has been planning in this from who knows how long to kill his children.
Yep. In January of 1974, he took out $10,000 life insurance policies. I'm sorry, I read the equivalent to today's. That's a big jump.
But I mean, still, 509. No, hold on, back up. $100,000, and what? 20,000 if both children die.
Yeah, because a month before, so September of 1974, he upped the insurance policies to $20,000 per kid. So that's only like 40 grand. But I mean,
Cool.
maybe you could have saved the house or the car. I don't know.
Still 60,000. Yeah, another. Okay, so despite objections, life insurance days preceding the death of Timothy, Brian took out another $20,000 policy on each child. Each policies totaled approximately $60,000. So that would be 120, which would get him out of debt and have him a buffer.
Yes. And his wife made claims that she had no idea about the insurance policies. And I don't know why I said it like that, because that implicates that she's guilty of something, but there's been no connection.
But, seriously, in 1974, if she was a stay-at-home mother, that is very likely.
Oh, yeah.
So, because men, it was like, I'm the man of the house. I must take care of the finances.
In my extensive knowledge of 1974, because I experienced it. You're right. You're absolutely 110% right.
Well, I mean, I've had several relatives that I've known since my whole life, and a lot of them are still very much like
your whole life. Anyways,
moving on. Okay, so we're now at about a potential $120,000 for him to save him and his wife, his car, and his house.
So, to make matters worse, as if all of this evidence didn't already make him look super bad, right? They also found a pocket knife in his house that had pixie stick residue on it, which could be argued that he cut the pixie stick open, replaced 2 inches of the candy with potassium cyanide, and then sealed it back up with like a flat iron or something.
Staple. They didn't do flat irons back then. They stapled them.
Oh, you're right. After finding the pocket knife and all the debt and, all the suspicious things, he was arrested in
what?
November.
The pillar of society was arrested.
He was on capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder, because let's remember that he also gave 4 other children pixie sticks full of cyanide.
Yes.
Not his own 2 children. Also Jim Bates' children. What did Jim Bates' children do to anybody? Nothing. But also his children didn't do anything.
But he was covering up his crime. You can't just kill your own children without killing somebody else's to cover it up.
Well, 5 is a little short of a cover-up. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's like a serial killer thing. So it's not just his house. It's his best bro's house.
It's just,
I don't know if they're best bros, but his friend's house with their 2 children. And then the random 10-year-old that apparently he did not like.
Yeah, I know. Like, oh, this kid goes to my church. F this kid. Here's a pixie.
I don't like this 10-year-old child. I saw you. Here's a pixie stick, son. Enjoy. Happy Halloween.
So he's arrested for capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. And this entire time, even with all the evidence stacking against him, he is maintaining his innocence. I didn't kill my son. I would never kill my son. It was some strange arm in an empty house that killed my son.
A disembodied arm.
It really
a dark house on a rainy night on Halloween.
So the reason I shared the urban legend in the beginning is because he actually uses that as his primary defense in court. It is an urban legend. Okay.
Okay, I have a very important question here.
Yeah.
Why the children? Why not knock off the wife?
I know he knew his wife longer. I don't know. Why kill anyone?
Well, I mean, but the first thing, if I was, not that I am by any means, if I was going to commit some sort of heinous crime, my first target would not be the children. It could be that I'm female, though. I don't know.
So the children are probably more expensive than his wife. As someone with 2 children, I can attest to that. My children are more expensive than my husband.
Are they, though?
Actually, you're right. You're right. As I sit next to his $1,500 computer with all the add-ons that
Yeah,
are money.
I probably wouldn't say that. That you
I'm
have.
cheaper than my kids. I am. So, look at me with your big eyes like, what?
And they can't see me because I'm not talking.
You are now. Anyways, kids are probably more expensive than the wife.
Obviously, in 1974.
Also, I don't know why we're speculating as to why he killed the kids and not his wife.
I mean, it was just a general question. I mean, typically, why target your children? You have a wife that would be more likely to die sooner than the children. Just saying.
I mean, I guess he thought he had a good enough plan that he was going to be like, oh, the Times told me 4 years ago that strangers are poisoning kids. So,
See, it's fools like him that ruined Halloween for everybody.
it's true.
Everybody.
It's true. So that was his main defense, is that strangers poison candy and put razor blades in apples just to hurt kids. Unfortunately for him, there's no actually documented proof of this ever happening. Not unfortunately for him, because F him and he deserves to go to prison, but the defense did not hold up to the scrutiny of this claim.
What? I thought he had it in the bag with the ghoul with the disembodied arm catching out from the darkness to hand him these gold shimmering pixie sticks that were full of the extra spice of life.
You would think so. I felt like that was a solid defense, too.
Absolutely. I don't know how he lost. Spoiler.
So, also, I jumped the gun here because I forgot about this. So there's actual someone came forward. I'm trying to remember who it was. During his trial, a chemist testified. He was an acquaintance of Ronald, and he said in the summer of 1973. So the summer of 1973.
The year before, the mid to late 1900s.
Shut up. O'Brien had asked him
how much how much it would take to kill a child.
Not it doesn't say child, it says person. How much cyanide it would take to kill a person.
Okay.
I didn't read the court transcripts, so maybe he said child. If you read them.
I did not read them.
Take the reins over here.
I told you my source information is Wikipedia and some YouTube. So
a chemical supply salesman testified that O'Brien had asked him how to purchase cyanide. And friends and coworkers testified that in the months before Timothy's death, O'Brien had showed an unusual interest in cyanide. Dun, dun, dun. And had spoke about how much it would take to kill a person.
Wow.
So
this man kills his son.
Yep.
Tries to kill 4 other children.
Mm-hmm.
Acts like a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, during this time frame, I'm sure there was a funeral for little Timothy. And that man walked in there and acted like he was brokenhearted that his child was dead.
Yeah.
The audacity.
I don't know. I don't think he got arrested until after the funeral, too.
Yeah, but he walked in there like he was a victim. He was crying.
Yeah. His whole story was so heart-wrenching. Like, he said the candy tasted bad. So instead of taking the candy away from him, I gave him Kool-Aid so that he could digest it better, so he could get it down there. And then, while he's in the bathroom, vomiting his life away, I was holding him, waiting for 911, and he went limp in my arms. Single tear. Like, this man's a monster.
Yeah. Oh, look, there was a snippet here that said at Timothy's funeral, he spoke of using the money from Timothy's life insurance policies, take a long vacation, and buy other items.
You forgot the word too.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was actually just about to bring that up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, okay. my oldest, whose name we won't say on here, is 9 years old. I cannot imagine cutting candy open and putting poisoning in it and then giving my son Kool-Aid so that he could eat the poison that I put in there. So another level of monstrosity.
Mm-hmm.
But then to go to your now deceased son's funeral and say, yeah, I'm so fortunate that I got $60,000 from his death because now I'm going to go take a vacation and buy some nice things.
But let's remember,
That's
he
terrible.
still it's terrible, but he still has $100,000 in debt. But he's going to take the money and go on a vacation and buy some other things.
Because he's an idiot, okay?
I mean,
Obviously, he doesn't pay his bills. That's how he got where he is.
oh my gosh. Oh my god. It just.
That's when it also came out. The brother and sister-in-law, I'm guessing his wife's siblings, testified about the funeral and what he said. And they also testified that his wife hadn't made comments about how Timothy hadn't actually chosen the pixie stick, how it had been chosen for him.
Yeah, but just naturally, this doesn't taste good. What do you say? Well, just don't eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I can't believe that in the 70s we were just giving kids candy that was stapled shut.
Let's just move on. Just move on. I think they were stapled shut up into the 80s, but
it is amazing because we got those big ones before and the paper was stapled on them, but then they were also sealed underneath the staple. It just baffles me that we as a society survived the 70s and 80s.
Well, maybe this is the reason that they stopped stapling.
A decade later, he was
Listen,
convicted.
I'm being positive here.
He was convicted. Let's see. The trial began in May. Oh my God. He was arrested on November 5th in 1974, and his trial did not begin until May 5th, 1975.
Why is that shocking to you?
I don't know. I just feel like that's a violation of one of our amendment rights.
Okay. Moving on.
I just got out of my criminal justice class. Sorry. Let's see. Of course, this case got national attention because either a father, POS father, killed his child with cyanide, or some random strange arm killed his
disembodied arm of a ghoul.
You're right. Sounds better. On June 3rd, 1975, so 1 month later,
after the trial
began. So the trial was only a month long. And
it took only a month.
It took the jury 46 minutes to find O'Brien guilty of capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. And they only took 71 minutes to sentence him to death. So,
Can you say by how he was sentenced to death?
Electrocution, because it's the 70s. So, cruel and unusual punishment was still allowed in the 70s.
But you know what? Here's amazing, is that his wife, though she was eventually going to divorce him, was still married with him up until his conviction.
That's a great point. I thought, because it says she didn't file until after he was convicted.
Yeah.
Maybe she believed him. I mean, who wants to believe that their husband killed their kid?
Nobody.
No. And you shouldn't have to believe that because it shouldn't happen.
Sweet little Timothy.
She did remarry, and her new husband adopted Elizabeth.
Thank goodness.
That's all I know about them. I don't know if he was a good adopted dad or if Elizabeth went on to be massively successful. How old would Elizabeth?
Well, I guess that, they pretty much don't want to bring it back up that her father killed her brother and was convicted to be electrocuted.
He was electrocuted. Excuse me.
So hopefully she didn't, get it out of the deep fryer and into a pan.
I don't know. I don't know when he was electrocuted, but I'm pretty sure he was.
Well, what's his date of death? I mean, that would probably tell us.
Maybe you should look that up.
Oh, you know what? Execution.
Yeah.
So at the time, men sentenced to death under Texas law were confined to the Ellis 1 unit near Huntsville, Texas. So according to Reverend Carol Pickett, a former chaplain who worked for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Imagine this. O'Brien was shunned and despised by his fellow death row mates.
I mean, yeah, because not only did he kill a child, he killed his own child.
Mm-hmm. And that's why the death row inmates, these are hardened men, people that did some crazy things to be on death row.
They probably were murderers.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to assume.
There's only I don't know what else you get convicted to death for.
I don't know. Maybe something that's completely horrific. Maybe they're serial killers. Still a killer. Okay, anyway. So this man...
Murder.
This man was in prison, death row, completely and absolutely friendless, which he deserves.
Rightfully so.
I'm surprised he even survived.
I know. I was hoping they would do something to him.
No. But what they did do is the first execution date was August 8th, scheduled for August 8th, 1980. But they had successfully gotten a stay of execution. The second one was set for 2 years.
5 years? What are you talking about? What do you need to stay the execution for?
Because he was obviously innocent.
Okay.
Okay, and then the second one was scheduled for May of 1982, but that one was also postponed.
That's 7 years now that this man has got to continue to live.
And Judge Michael McSpadden scheduled the third execution date for, get this, October 31st, 1982.
Did he die? Did he get executed?
So that, again, was the 8th anniversary of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this. This is awesome. It says, it's stated in here, no, not confirmed, but it states that the judge offered to personally drive O'Brien to the death chamber.
Who's that judge?
That judge is hardcore.
We're a judge right now.
Yes.
I
don't think he was
day of execution. I swear to God.
No. Let's see. It was to have been the first time Texas executed an inmate by lethal injection, so he wasn't electrocuted.
Dang.
Why are we sad about that?
Because he's a monster.
Okay, but let's see. The Supreme Court delayed the date yet again. That would have been just like poetic justice.
It would have been perfect to be poisoned to death on the 8th anniversary of when you poisoned your son to death.
Yes.
Is he dead?
Okay, so here we go. So the fourth stay on the basis that lethal injection was a cruel and unusual punishment, but electrocution was fine. On March 28th, the federal judge rejected the request, and on March 31st, 1984, shortly after midnight, O'Brien was executed by lethal injection in Huntsville unit. I'm not going to go over his last meal, though, because whatever.
What is his last meal? It better have been crappy.
No. I mean, if you really like the stuff, it was a T-bone steak, medium to well done, French fries and ketchup, whole corn, sweet peas, lettuce and tomato salad with egg and French dressing, iced tea, sweetener, I'm guessing for the tea, saltines, Boston cream pie, and rolls.
Well, I don't think child killers should get T-bone steak for their last meal.
Well, I mean that's the last meal they're ever going to have.
It should have been his last meal 9 years ago. So,
and oh my gosh, his last words.
No. Stop.
Again, not confirmed, but Wikipedia knows some things.
Knows all. Wikipedia knows all.
Okay, so last words. What is about to transpire in a few moments is wrong. But killing your son was not wrong. Seriously.
He's maintained his innocence this whole time.
Yep. However, we as human beings do make mistakes and errors. This execution is one of those wrongs, yet doesn't mean our whole system of justice is wrong. Therefore, I would forgive all who have taken part in any way in my death. Also, to anyone I have offended in any way during my 39 years. Seriously, he looked way older than 39.
He does look really old.
Yeah.
He looks bad too. I would think like 40s.
He was 30 when he did this stuff. And seriously, he looks like he's 50. It's weird. Okay, and then let's see. During my 39 years, I pray and ask for forgiveness, just as I forgive anyone who offended me in any way. Doesn't this sound like the Lord's Prayer?
It really sounds like he talked too much and they should have pushed the needle.
And this was a really long last words. I mean, usually it's.
You really should only get a sentence. Like,
No, this is like a paragraph. It says, and I pray and ask God's forgiveness for all of us, respectively, as humans. To my loved ones, I extend my undying love. To those close to me, no.
Didn't kill.
Huh?
Which loved ones? The ones he murdered or the ones he...
No, he didn't love that one.
Obviously.
Let's see, where was that? To those close to me, know in your hearts that I love you, one and all. God bless you all, and may God's best blessings be always yours. Ronald C. O'Brien, P.S. During my time here, I have been treated well by all TDC personnel. I guess that's the Department of Corrections. During the execution, a crowd of 300 demonstrators gathered outside the prison, cheered while some yelled trick or treat. Others showed anti-death penalty demonstrators with candy. Trick or treat.
Not trick or treat. 300 people.
Yeah, but it would have been so poetic if it was on October 31st.
First off, I don't think that child killers should get last meals I don't think they should get last meals at all. Just don't eat your entire stint on death row. But also, I don't think they should get final words either. Because
these aren't final words. This is a final paragraph.
Freaking what is it? It's a final monologue. Relax.
Yeah.
He seemed really religious, so
he was a deacon in the church, remember?
Rest in hell. Where he eats cyanide pixie sticks for eternity.
Can you just imagine that?
No.
Just like eating the pixie sticks and then just vomiting that up. Over and over and over and over and that's like really, something.
Poetic justice.
That's my word. Oh gosh! So all these people are cheering trick or treat. Die.
Yeah, and he deserved every second.
I'm glad this did not happen, of course, but somebody could have really taken the time to poison candy that they were showering the protesters with. That would have been terrible.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know. It's macabre, okay? I'm the macabre.
Oh my god, you're like, it would have been real funny, but not haha funny, is if all the protesters were poisoned with Halloween candy. What is wrong with you?
Look, we started and I'm already canceled.
I know. This is only episode 1. Relax.
I am relaxed. I am super relaxed. Okay, what else we got?
Well, I have some stories of poison candy.
Oh, what you got?
So,
we should say though that Timothy, I really hope you are resting in peace.
Yes.
And if you have reincarnated, I hope it is with a way better parent
than Ronald. And also
you. And Elizabeth, I hope you're doing fantastic.
Yes. Sorry if this was offensive to you, Elizabeth.
Yes. Apologies. And Elizabeth's mother, that nobody can say her name.
Well, you say it.
I haven't even found it yet.
Dayne.
Diane.
I mean, that's what I thought too, but then where's the other N?
People spell things differently, Miranda.
Well, I am really bad with names, and this will continue for all of eternity, just like Ronald's hell. Ronald Pixie Stick Hale. So the prevalence, this is from Wikipedia, just BT dubs. The prevalence and persistence of these myths during the 60s and 70s, a time of social upheaval, great racial integration, and improved status of women, reflected societal questions about who was trustworthy. So basically, that's just saying this whole urban legend came out because the people in charge, which would be the rich landowning white men, wanted to paint women and people of color as untrustworthy and poisonous monsters who poisoned our candy.
What?
That's what it says in a much nicer way. It says the prevalence and persistence of these myths during the 60s and 70s reflected societal questions about who was trustworthy, and it notes that it was a time of social upheaval with great racial integration and improved status of women. So this myth is because they didn't want you to trust women and people of color with your children.
But they just wanted the women to stay in the house and raise the children.
Yeah. And search for the tainted candy.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So several events in the late 20th century fostered modern candy tampering myth. In 1959, a California dentist, William Shine, gave candy-coated laxative pills to trick-or-treaters. He was charged with outrage of public decency and unlawful dispensing of drugs. In 1964, a disgruntled Long Island, New York woman gave out packages of inedible objects to children who she believed were too old to be trick-or-treating. The packages contained items such as steel wool, dog biscuits, and ant buttons, which are poisonous. I don't know what they are, but it says they're poisonous. Nobody was injured, and she was prosecuted, pled guilty for endangering children.
And did she go to jail?
She did. But again, neither of those are like candy that has been poisoned. It's literally just poison that's given instead of candy. So, and then the New York Times shared their 1970s article about the dangers of candy and trick-or-treating. But there's no actual case. And also, some people tie in that myth with the Tylenol thing that happened that maybe we'll talk about later. So,
Tylenol thing.
a woman poisoned Tylenol on the shelf so that she her husband's murder.
I feel like I watched this on TV.
You probably did.
Pretty sure it's it was an episode of Monk where
It was a real case, actually.
this is on Monk though. And he, a husband was trying to kill his wife, and he poisoned all these candy bars, and people got them, and Monk had to figure it out, and blah 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 blah.
Blah blah blah.
Monk figured it out. Super smart.
Yeah, because it's fictional.
I love Monk. Okay.
But they also did figure it out in real life.
Well, that's good. You didn't need Monk. Just real knowledge.
That's all I got. All right.
All right. Well,
That's it.
hopefully that was. Oh, does anybody want to know where Ronald Clark O'Brien is buried?
Nobody cares.
Maybe they want to go give him some candy.
Okay. First off, desecrating a grave is illegal. I just want to go ahead and say that.
No, I just said give him some candy. I never said it was going to be like a desecration.
Nobody cares where this loser is buried. You can tell people where Timothy is buried so they can leave him flowers.
Well, I'm going to assume that Timothy is buried quite close to his father.
He isn't. They're buried in 2 separate cemeteries.
Oh, thank goodness. Poor little Timothy. So, do you think that this guy is kind of like the baseline for the actual movie, The Candyman?
No, because that's about something completely different.
Well, most urban legends turn into something completely different.
No, I mean, like, if you type in the Candyman legend, something else comes up. You have to type in poison candy legend. Candyman is about, I don't know what year, but decades ago. A black man was in love with a white woman.
Probably back in the late 1900s.
Early Probably mid. I don't know what constitutes
Oh,
as
it's
mid.
definitely not mid. It was definitely the 90s.
No, when the myths, how it started was not
Oh,
in.
I was talking about the movie.
No. The urban legend comes from a black man who loved a white woman, and then a bunch of white men killed him, I think.
Mm.
I never watched the movie or read the urban legend, so
Taylor loves that movie.
I know. That's my mom, for all wonder.
I don't know her.
Yes,
Never heard the name before either.
they're not sisters or anything.
Oh, we're not.
Sure. Oh, man.
Whatever.
Hopefully this is good. Give us another chance. Watch the second episode.
Okay, hopefully it wasn't that bad. I mean, I didn't think it was that bad.
We'll watch back. I mean, it was super unprofessional when the little.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it supposed to be like super professional? Because that's just not who I am, bro.
It's true.
I mean, you should hear me at my regular job. Super unprofessional.
No, you sound creepy at your regular job.
You shut your face.
Like, hi, I'm April. How can I help you?
I'm going. Oh, I am not threatening to murder her at all.
Oh my God. Okay. Bye. Okay, we're gonna go now.
Uh,
Bye.
okay, bye. Bye.